There goes a sight from my soul.
What's up? What's good? What is happening? Can I get a mic check? Mic check. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to my live stream. I am the actual King Smith, and this is a vlog. Moving to my new night on Tuesday nights, as my Sundays have gotten filled up. If you've been keeping up with my live streams, first of all, thank you. Okay, if you're watching this on YouTube and Facebook, do me a favor, hit that like button for your boy. That'll help me out on the algorithm. That's the algos, the algorithm. Spell algorithm. I can't do it. So today is the last day to vote in the midterms here in the US. So if you did not do early voting, or if you did not vote today and you were eligible, why? I'd like to know. Okay. No shame, just curious. There is somebody I know that wore a shirt that said, and I'm going to bring it up here because I don't necessarily have it out memorized because my memory is trash. Vote like our ancestors died for it. All right. I'm not a history guy, but a little bit about what we're going to talk about has to do with history and just a little bit of the current climate. All right. Shout out to Tarika. She is in the building. That is my mod over there, keeping it popping and showing up. Hey, I appreciate the support. Tarika has been my mod here for a while now and will continue to be my mod. And if the channel blows up, Tarika, we can talk business. All right. But right now, I'm just a humble, lowly man out here in these YouTube streets. But I appreciate the support as always. And I still know I need to get with you so that our schedules can align up so that I can offer what little knowledge I have on how to do a live stream and get your message out there. All right. So this past weekend, I ended up spending some time with a lady by the name of Michelle Early. And she was taking me through her neighborhood, right? Her city, where she grew up with, Baltimore. All right. I had to learn how to say it properly, like the native people do, the native Baltimoreans. All right. There's no D in Baltimore, right? But you would think it would be based off of the way that they say it. But Baltimore, Baltimore, Maryland is about 40 minutes to the east of me. It's not that far. All right. Baltimore and Baltimore County. That's how you can tell if somebody's from this area because they'll say it like Baltimore. And one of the things that we did was we drove through a Jewish community. Okay. And when I tell you that this Jewish community was clean, organized well, you saw people out and about walking, like families and things. It was pretty interesting and nice, seeing the Jewish culture like that, the Jewish community, just doing their thing, minding their business, living life. The same thing that I do. And about another 5-minute drive later, when you get outside of the Jewish community, where you can say more impoverished people of color lived, it was not as clean. You had police cameras, canvassing across the city, looking at, being a deterrent for crime. And Tarika said, we blacks are the real Jews. Now, see, that's a topic that I'd have to say I'd have to stay out of because I haven't done that kind of studying. I've heard several people echo that and say that. All right. I'm going to raise my hand and say I'm not much of a history guy. I've never really cared for history personally. I understand the importance of history. Don't get me wrong. All right. But two of the things that I'm going to talk about today, like for example, one of the things that I wanted to get into was how there's a word called anti-Semitism. And I'm going to share my screen to show what the definition of, or the accepted definition of anti-Semitism is. And it got me to thinking, or kind of ask a question as I was talking with Michelle, and we were going through Baltimore and Baltimore County. Is, there's a word for the mistreatment or the hatreds of Jewish people, but what's the word for what is, you can say, is a problem in the hatred and mistreatment of people of color, right? Is there a word for that? Without Googling, I don't know. I don't know. I know what anti-Semitism is, but I can't say if there's any other anti whatever word. All right. So let's share my screen here. How do I do this? Present arms. Here we go. Present, share screen. Your boy got dual monitors because, I'm not cheap over here. And I'm going to make this bigger. That's what she said. And my source right here is state.gov. All right. And it says the Department of State has used a working definition along with examples of anti-Semitism since 2010. Okay. And the 31 member states of the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance in 2016 adopted a non-legally binding working definition while they were at this meeting, right? And basically, in Bucharest, where they met, with humanity still scarred by anti-Semitism and xenophobia, the international community shares a solemn responsibility to fight those evils. All right. And the adopted non-legally binding working definition is as follows: anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed towards Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, towards Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. Now, lately in the news, there's been a lot of statements made by people that have fame, such as Mr. Kanye West, aka Ye, I guess that's what he calls himself now, a prominent musician, producer, rapper, businessman in the US, and basketball player Kyrie Irving. Now, I'm a busy person. I can't speak on exactly what was said and what was expressed. What I heard was that a majority of the people had said that they had expressed anti-Semitic views on their platforms. And these are people that have a lot of fame, a lot more fame than I do. Okay. I'm just a guy who currently has 3 viewers right now. Shout out to all of y'all who are watching this live. All right. Now, I'm going to circle back to something that I was getting to earlier, in which I was curious about something. Michelle had made a statement and said that there's a reason why you don't hear about a lot of crime within the Jewish community. A, the Jewish community take care of their own. All right. And B, is people know better than to go into a Jewish community being reckless. Okay. It won't end well. It just won't end well. And it got me to thinking, if the people within the Jewish community can do that themselves, there's no police cameras up in their areas because, you just know not to mess with the Jewish community. Why can't other communities have that same type of organization perception, right? Perception is what shapes the reality of some things. Why is it that people think that it's okay to do a certain thing to certain people and get away with it? But if you get towards another community, um, you won't be able to get away with it. Is it because their members are stronger, more united? If so, how can other communities adopt that? That's really what I want to know. I would love to have this conversation with somebody to help my brain understand some things. Okay. Shout out to Michelle early. She said, "Sorry I'm late." Speak of the person I was talking about earlier. Her thoughts as she was showing me through Baltimore is what got me to ask myself these thoughts. Okay. Because if you go outside of the Jewish community, in other areas, the community isn't as tight. All right. They're not as close knit. It's interesting to me that in the middle of all of this anti-Semitism stuff, right? Separately, over Halloween, there were Halloween weekend alone had 50 reported gun violence incidents. And gun violence happens so much out of Chicago now that people just don't even care about it anymore. But what was crazy was something like 14 people under the age of 18 were injured or killed over Halloween weekend due to gun violence in Chicago alone. Takeoff, a popular rapper of the rap group The Migos, was shot and killed in what appeared to be an accident, but it was a dust-up scuffle out of Houston, Texas, to where one person lost his life because somebody decided to get ignorant. Now, ignorant is my simple way of saying ignorant, but unchecked emotions and anger or aggression led to somebody making a stupid action, and this one guy lost his life. And the rap community, the hip-hop community, and people that were friends and family of the guy were quick to say that that person didn't deserve it. I would argue, and a lot of people care about Takeoff as he has influence within the hip-hop community. How about those 14 kids, who are likely out and about, trick-or-treating, or wrong place, wrong time, or they're people that, because they have never left their neighborhood, they don't know that there's a whole big world out there. All right. And it's unfortunate for some people. This right here, let me see if this shows up. It's likely not going to show up because of the background that I'm using right now. But there it is. Boom. Passport. I technically left outside of the country when I was younger, but I don't remember a lot of it because my father was a U.S. veteran. I had grown up and been around a melting pot of different people and cultures for as long as I can remember in my younger age. So my view of the world was literally opened up. And I think that that is vital. And I've talked about this before. That type of stuff is vital to helping expand your mind. I want to share some of these comments real quick. Michelle earlier said, in other communities, we focus on our difference and ignore the commonalities that unite us. Let's see. And it looks like there's some back and forth that started up a little bit earlier. And so I'm going to scroll back up to the top. Michelle, to one of my comments, had said, I think it starts with coming together as a community. Jews allowed their religious beliefs to trump anything else that may divide them. Not the same with other communities. Question. Okay. As we live in a place where freedom of religion is allowed to be expressed, where you have Jewish, Christian, Muslim, all of these different people that live within the same community of each other. All right. So if you have like a Jewish community that governs their community based off of their religion, how can Christians, which have there's the how many denominations of Christianity out there, have that govern when you also have, you know, what people say, separation of church and state. All right. Oh man, I don't want to get into government too much because I'm not a government expert. Okay. My last government class had revolved around law when I was going through business school. But I really would like to get to a point to where, despite our differences, right? Everybody understands that we do have a shared resource that we all have to use, we all have to, you know, live with, so to speak. And just because we have different beliefs, different systems, different whatever, um we don't have to fight amongst each other. All right. So let's see. Tarika came out and said, we as blacks or colors are easily brainwashed, believe things instead of reading and research. I can agree with that. I I can agree with that. And then going through some of the comments here, Tarika said black people aren't going to come together as a community. I think there is truth to that statement, and I have 10,000 reasons why. Okay. I can't go through them all today because we don't have enough time for that. And Michelle looks like she agreed and said that that is a tragedy. Absolutely. All right. So Michelle typed some comments as to my thoughts. She said, first, we have division in our religion. How can we have unity in a community when there is division in our religion? Oh, that's a bar. That is a bar. Did you make that up or did you hear that from someplace? Put that on a shirt and sell it on Amazon.com. Personally, I feel our differences should unite us and allow us to create and be better. Bingo. Bingo. That is where I sit. That is 100% where I sit. You know, these are the like the thoughts and things. Like I would love, y'all, look, if you've been around me, or there's one of the things that I say is, have you met me? Right. And to meet me and know me is to know that I get curious, especially about things that I don't understand. So I would love to sit down within various communities and just, you know, have a conversation about the things that their community, you know, go through. And I'm just a regular dude. I have no influence on anything. I am a peon on this earth. Yet, if enough peons come come together, I think that some really good, powerful, positive change can occur. All right. Also, what I found interesting, technically, slavery ended in the late 1800s, right? A long time ago. Yet it can be argued by some people that we're still feeling the effects of slavery in the US today. And that part of the division and the divisiveness stems from that. I don't follow that train of thought 100% completely. As I take a look at the independence and other things that I see that people have, right? Even people that come from other countries to live here in the United States, the freedoms and opportunities that can occur, um that I can't quite be on board with systemic things that people say are occurring now that is a result of slavery. And just because, look, let me also say this too, just because slavery ended in the late 1800s didn't mean that slavery ended in the late 1800s. All right. But like I said, this is not a history class because I'm not a history type guy. There's a lot of my peers and people who definitely study and follow history a lot closer, you know, than I have. But you can sympathize for people that before, you could say, the late 1800s, the early 1900s, my grandparents, my great grandparents that had to deal with a lot more than I have. I'm thankful for that. I'm grateful for that. I do have an understanding of that, not fully because I didn't live it, right? Fast forward to World War II and the Holocaust. Tragic, okay? The Holocaust was an extremely tragic event that, whew, man, it is it's rough to talk about. Will you understand that around, see, World War II was around like the 40s? So sometime it like between like 1940 and 1945, you had Germans basically running through and slaughtering over, it was several million, all right, 5 to 6 million Jewish people across Europe. Insane. And apparently, uh not necessarily apparently, the last that I heard, and I'm going off memory here, which is tragic. I should have had this stuff up. It was around about 2/3 of the entire Jewish population. That's a large amount of people to just delete and murk off this earth. Okay. And that was more recent, so to speak, than slavery. Now, Tarika even talked about earlier that people of color are Jewish people. When you think of a Jewish person, I traditionally you see a certain type of person in mind. When you're doing IT and you're doing what's called storyboarding and you're creating a user, like what's your typical user, you have these people that you invent and you say, well, this is the typical user and this is what this person, looks, and this is how they operate. All right. And when you ask yourself, well, what does a Jewish person look like? I think if you ask 5 different people, you'll get 5 different answers of who a Jewish person is. Okay. Let me take a look at the comments here. Michelle said, personally, I think it still exists, but in a different way. I want to say she's talking about slavery. First, we could talk about our PK to prison pipeline. What is PK? What is PK? If you can define that for me, I'd appreciate it. And she said, next, we can talk about systemic racism and methods of repression that continue to limit access to Black people. And then there's a comment to what I said earlier. She said, no, it is not what it used to be. And that type of enslavement has ended, but it definitely still exists in a way. So she's talking about slavery there. All right. And Tarika agrees and says that, yes, it still exists. Oh, pre-K. So like pre-kindergarten. Got you. Pre-kindergarten to prison pipeline. I know a little bit about that. I know in Pennsylvania, there was a really bad incident that was proven and people got punished, justice got served, so to speak, of a judge and a judicial system that was putting young men and a lot of young people of color behind bars. A lot of this stuff is interesting. What I am an advocate for is education and knowledge. Okay. I don't know if people can see my smartphone right here, but some of the education can start with just what you have right there in the palm of your hand. Not all education is equal, not all school systems are equal. The funny part about it is access to education and resources and money uh, makes the world go round. Okay. The more knowledge that you have, the more access to this different education and stuff that you have, the better you can prepare yourself. I would not have the views that I have or the understanding that I have had I not been active duty Air Force in a melting pot of various people and also had the opportunity to travel and see as many as countries as I did. So if y'all have some ideas, put them in the comment section. Okay. I'm going to read some more comments and then I'm going to close out my stream today with my thoughts. Today's stream was more just, I'm going to kind of share my thoughts about conversations that I've had, things that make me kind of think, all right, in this big brain of mine, and give people the opportunity to express their thoughts and things as well. All right. Tarika said we need to homeschool our children. They are controlling our kids in public education. That's interesting. Michelle is a public school educator. All right. So I'd be interested to read her thoughts on that. There are a certain subset of people that think that public school indoctrinates your kids. I am a member of a public school education. So I don't have a bad thought on it. For me, it was more about, learning to the curriculum. The curriculum was public, all right. The funds and things were raised by the state, some by the community, like stuff that I'm understanding things about, kind of admin and things now. I think in private schools, in some respect, you can say that and it be a true statement. But those are just my quick thoughts. All right. Let's see. Michelle said, look at the pressure that we put on blacks to become successful in sports and music, but not so much STEM or STEAM or other professional options. Yep. That one right there. That one right there. I've shared a story on my page about when my brother was young and he was talking to this older member of our church. He was a professional in medicine, and my brother had mentioned to him that when he grew up, he liked to play basketball for the Chicago Bulls. And this guy goes, okay, that's cool. How about owning the team though? That's the kind of wealth right there that can create generational wealth, right? Owning a business that you can, navigate the market successfully, right? And then either, sell the business or pass the business down to somebody inside of your family. All right. Rap, sports, entertainment has its place. I like to be entertained. Okay. I will pay for entertainment. But there are definitely other avenues. STEM is one of the ones that I like because that's what I'm in. I'm non-technical IT, and I definitely can see the benefits of getting young people into STEM early so that, they can learn, appreciate, and make that a bankable career. Tarika said we need to educate ourselves. The government likes to keep you quiet. Hey, okay. If that's the case, if I were to say the wrong thing here, I have no doubt that YouTube would silence me. All right. But luckily for me, I'm not Kanye West or I'm not Kyrie Irving. All right. Tarika said athletes are music. They are nothing but tokens. Ooh. And let's see. Michelle asked a question. Okay. And I'm going to end on this question here. How is enslavement still alive? Okay. How is enslavement still alive? I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer. My quick off the top of my head thought would say that not having access to information is a little bit of what can enslave somebody if they don't know what they don't know, so to speak. So, not allowing you to learn a marketable skill, that's a form of enslavement, right? That's really like the only thing that I could think of off the top of my head. But you know what? I love to table it and have this conversation with you in person because we know each other. And I appreciate you asking. All right. Riches fade and end. Wealth is generational and can last forever. And Tarika said, most of us are scared of speaking their minds. If they do, there are consequences or it's consequences. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's my stream for today. That went a lot longer than I thought. And I have a lot more viewers on than I thought too. So to the people who are watching live, first of all, thank you. Thank you. It looks like doing this on a Tuesday night is where it's at for the most part. So I'm going to keep doing that. I don't have school. I don't have any other thing. And I had to move it from Sunday nights due to a commitment that I'm going to be going on. I'm going to be hosting this thing called The Sports Bar on WTF Nation Radio, which is an internet radio show. We're going to look at having our first episode. I'm going to say publicly, I said November 20th, but we've moved it back to December the 4th at 8 o'clock. All right. As I get closer, I'm definitely going to be talking about it. I'm going to have clickable links. So if sports is your thing, tune in for it. If it's not your thing, show up, hit the like button, and then bounce. All right. Shout out to Michelle and Tarika for being in the comments, sharing their thoughts, and helping kind of put some context in things and enriching this conversation. If you're watching this on the playback, let us know what you think. All right. Use the ability to speak your mind. All I ask is that you put some thought behind it. Okay. Don't just blurt out stuff that's not really anything that's informed. It's okay to have an opinion, but put some critical thought behind it. That's all that I ask. All right. I'll be back next Tuesday, sprinkled in with some other days with either some crypto stuff, some gaming with the homies, or other content that I have on this particular channel. All right. Hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Tarika said that she just shared the live. Bam, that's what I'm talking about. And you know what? It's almost hoodie season. It's almost toboggan season or Scully's, whatever you call it. I got to bring out the yellow skull cap that somebody who I still don't know did a nice little cartoon that's up there at the top right of the screen right now that I appreciate them for. And to my members on YouTube, the people that are members of my YouTube channel that supports me in this live stream for like the price of a Starbucks coffee each month. Thank you. All right. That's Brittany. That's my man Ian. And another person that I don't know off the top of my head like that. Tamara Dimes. Whoever you are, thank you. They had unsubscribed from membership and then came back and supported again. I don't do members only content, but I should. So I'm going to start doing that. All right. That's all I have for today. Until next time, y'all know what to do.